Hey, everybody. This is the Love Experience Show. I am your host, Ashley J. I'm a relationship and dating coach and couples therapist and wife, mother, and a whole bunch of ands. And thank you so much for tuning in to the Love Experience Show. Tonight is a special night because, as you can see, I have two guests tonight. Miss Jasmine Dash and Mrs. Jessica McNeil. We got a good conversation for you guys today. So before we jump in, go ahead and share this episode with everybody you know. Also, make sure you subscribe if you have not already to the channel so you can stay abreast of every time the show comes on every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay. And let's see, I want to run my announcements down so you guys know every week I let you know, come on, go get your Love Experience show gear, support the show, get your gear. It is out there ready for you, so go ahead and get it, y'all. Go to itsashleyj.com and get your Love Experience show gear. And tonight, um we are talking about, as you can see on the screen, Building Your Love Empire, which is going to be June 24th through the 25th of this year, which is literally next month. So you want to go get your tickets. Down here is the website to go get your tickets. We have plenty of tickets. Y'all need to sell us out. And we are looking for sponsors as well. So if you have a product that is geared towards women, self care, or whatever service you have, we would like to talk to you. Okay. We would like to talk to you so that we can get you a spot as a sponsor and get you a little ad. Come on, y'all. You need this. Okay.
Yes.
Spread this with everybody you know. Okay. So, Jessica, you want to tell the people who you are, remind them, because y'all know Jessica was on here before. Go ahead and remind them.
Hey y'all, it's good to be back on here. I'm Jessica McNeil. I'm that Georgia girl coming here to share with y'all again. I am an author, a speaker, coach, and a prophetic teacher. And so I have connected with Miss Ashley J through Clubhouse actually last year. And so it's just been excited to grow in our relationship and be able to be on here and share with you. I am a Christian content creator. So if you hear me talking, I'm going to talk about God. I'm going to do it. And so whatever it is that I'm talking about, it will definitely include that. And so I'm just excited to get on and share with you all today.
All right. Jazz, you want to tell the people who you are?
Hey everyone. So, yes, I was on here before as well, but I was in audio. So, I am here physically in the flesh this time. So, thank you, Ashley. And it's good to see you, Miss Jessica, as well. Just to let everybody know a little bit about me, I do have a little baby. So, if you hear a baby in the background, that is him. But I am. I am an abundance coach and I teach high achieving women how to vocalize hidden emotions so they can create healthy conversations and be able to finally live with the peace and love they've been searching for. So, that being said, yes, I am a Christian life coach, but there's so much more. And that's where the abundance coaching comes in. So, I look forward to this conversation and teach you all about that love.
All right. So y'all ready to jump into this thing? Again, everybody that's jumping on right now, you want to share this episode with everybody you know. Okay? Share. Invite people, have a watch party, all of that great stuff. We need y'all to be here so you can hear this. Okay? All right. So, my first question is going to go to Jessica. I'm going to alternate between the two of y'all, okay?
Okay.
So, Jessica, what is your topic for the Building Your Love Empire Women's Experience?
So my topic particularly is going to be titled Rock Steady. Now I don't know if y'all are familiar with that 1960s song by the Whispers. That's before my time, but I know that song. Uh, but that my segment is going to be on the love of God and getting that love solidified to be able to build on your love.
All right. Jazz, you want to tell them what your topic is?
Yes, and I'm going on and off mute because the baby, but I am here. So I just want to let y'all know my topic. I don't have a title yet, but I will tell you the premise is all about self love. Um, I'm trying not to give too many hints. We'll say, we'll say this.
Right.
I have had some experiences in what's taught love the wrong way, but this is going to be a way to be able to teach you how to be able to heal and learn how to love the right way.
All right. Okay. So, Jess,
Okay.
how would you describe God's love?
Okay, so back to that entire topic, and I'm not gonna get all my little deets in there, but God is really that solid and firm, unconditional, unchanging love, and so being able to understand that love is what's gonna really help us to build. So I would really describe His love. It's just like I say, steady, rock and steady, because it's hard. He loves hard, but His love is steady. It doesn't change up.
All right. All right. So, Jasmine, in your words, what is self love?
Yeah, so I mean, let's just start here without me going too into what I'm going to talk about. Self love is just an embodiment, really. I mean, the way we got to back this whole thing up because we got to give y'all what this is about. Listen, okay?
You know
The
what?
reason why
Thank you.
I'm sitting here like, it makes sense to us, but we got to make it make sense to y'all, okay?
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is the reason because, and I say this because when it comes to self love for me, the way that I learned self love before, I thought it was just about the things that you do, pampering yourself, taking care of yourself, grooming, get your hair done, your nails done, all of that stuff. I thought that was what self love was. But I mean, yeah, that's a part of it, taking care of yourself, but that's not all that self love is, right? And so when we're talking about building your love empire, Jessica sets the premise when she talks about knowing God's love. This is the reason why you have to, you get to the point of where you can love yourself. The word said specifically, you love God, you love people like you love yourself. If you don't love God, you don't know his love for yourself. You can't love other people, period. So when I'm talking about self love and like it gets me hyped up because there was such a long time in my life that I didn't know what love was. And I was looking for it in different, places. And so I say that because it came from my foundation in God. It came from knowing my identity in Christ. That's where self love came from for me. So I'm not trying to get too deep into it today, but when y'all
You
come
all
to
in
the
my topic.
conference, listen, I'm sorry. But it's necessary, and I think that it's necessary for us to be able to say that because we got to be able to know what the premise is and the reason why we're talking about building your love empires. Because, a lot of people can just think, oh, it's just about relationships. Oh, it's just about being a power couple. But no, it's so much more. And it starts with God. Then it starts with yourself and getting yourself together and building up, doing that inner work. But that comes from knowing who God is. And if you don't have that relationship with God, you can't get it. You can't even get to the next part. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to say that because I thought it was necessary for as we're building and talking about this conversation that this is the prelude to what we're doing come next month.
Yes. So
So I
thank you
hope
for
I answered
that.
your question, but I just wanted to make sure I said all that too.
Thank you for saying that because I don't know where my mind went because I had this whole format and then got into it and totally forgot. So let me take a pause for a minute, y'all. First of all, so the way this experience, because y'all know I'm not calling it a conference, I'm calling it an experience. The way this experience came to be was it last year at some point? Um we all got connected and we were trying to figure out why God put us all together. And he showed it to me one day. He showed me that he put us all together for us to create a conference for women to help them. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't say anything about it. I just put it in the back of my mind, mental note. Okay. And then um when was it? Maybe this year? Was it? I can't even remember, y'all. My mind is so. it came together. It came right back. And I was like, okay. And the Lord was like, do it. I said, okay. So we got together. We started banging the idea out. Um, it was really, really rough in the beginning, like for real rough, like rough as in a rough idea, a rough draft that we were coming up with. But as we continued to work together, we were able to bring it all together and present it to you guys come next month, the 24th through the 25th. So I think that we are all linked because we have a passion for women. We have a passion to help women get to their next level and to understand who they are in God. Because I can say for myself, and if you watched my live on Instagram earlier, I can say for myself, I didn't know who I was for a long time up until recently. And I have no shame in saying it. So I am like, okay, I don't want anybody else to be stuck and not understand who they are and what they were made for. So if you guys want to elaborate on anything that I said, you can.
Yeah, I think especially with you just giving that whole preface of how this came together, and how strategic God is, because we all have a different grace for this area of love that we're going to be sharing with y'all. So, the three chord lace is not easily broken. So God brought this together for us to be able to pour from our area of expertise, Ashley being the relationship and date coach, Jasmine, the queen of self-care, and then me, I'm a word person. The Bible is everything. And so for us to be able to bring all these parts together, it gives us the opportunity to help you on all of these levels. Like, we're not just coming up with, hey, okay, you take this, you take that. No, we know what we're talking about because we've had to live through it. And so these experiences coming together all on a kingdom basis, because we're building these empires on the basis of God and that relationship, for us to really get the fullness of all that He has for us to encounter in the love empires that we're building.
All right. You got something to say, Jasmine?
Yeah, and I just love the fact that you broke it down and kind of talked about the backstory, because I thought that that was definitely necessary. I think that a lot of times when people do, events and collaborations, it just happens. But with this, it has literally transpired over what, the past 6+ months. I would say it's a little, almost 6 months
Over.
now. Over 6 months now, yeah. And so I'm just thinking, about all of the different things, and even thinking about the processing that God has like brought like me through, to be able to deliver the message of what He's sharing with me to share with everybody for next month. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, if you don't get your tickets now, it's going to be monumental, because there's something that each one of us has, that it may even be something that we say, that we all three say the same thing. But if you don't hear it from one of us specifically, from our voice specifically, it's not going to happen to where something is going to transform and change your life. So I say that because you need to be there. You not need to just be there or be here today to listen to what we're saying today, but being there in the room or virtual room, something is going to transform and take place when it comes to your love empire. And I say that because there's been a lot of times, as I mentioned before, we've been taught how to love the wrong way through the people that we've
Mhm.
seen, the different examples, all of these different things, which I'll get into a lot of that when I talk about what I'm talking about then. But I say that because there might be some things that have happened in your life that you didn't even know have been something that have impacted the way that you love. Even if you're single, if you're married, if you're looking to get married, whatever the case may be, wherever you are on your love walk, or even loving yourself, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might have seen somebody else, like, oh well, they do all of this, and if I go and do that, then maybe that will make me feel that that feeling that I need to feel on the inside when it comes to myself and looking at myself in the mirror. But it's so much more than that, and it's so deep, that we really need to have these healthy conversations, and we need to start talking about these things that really boggle us when it comes to the different areas of love. so we can be able to not just heal, but to really live a full life that has love all in it, all around us, in us, and what we give to even other people too. So it's definitely important and it's necessary that we continue to know and not just do this one time, y'all. Like building your love empire is not just like, all right, I'm gonna build it and that's it. Like the reason why we're doing this here, and Ashley was talking about this a little bit, is that this is something that is that foundation that's going to build us up to continue us to keep going. So we can be able to like be, all right, I remember I went to that event or that experience. I remember I went to that experience and
Yes.
they taught me this, and this. Let me tap back into that. Let me get that refresher that I need and keep it going. So that's what we want to make sure that we're doing for you guys. It's not just a one-time thing. This is a lifelong thing. We're here. We're here to love. This is what God created us for. This is what we need to do and be able to, exude into the world.
Well, thank you. No, but seriously, like, you know, God created love. He is love, right? And for us to experience love any other way than what is described in the Bible, what he shows us on a consistent basis, is really doing a disservice to him,
Yeah.
because he wants so much more for us as his children, as his daughters. When it comes to love, he doesn't want us in toxic patterns. He doesn't want us to beat up on ourselves. He doesn't want any of that for us. He wants us to be loved and to love. And I say that because I can remember when I was at a place where I was not trying to love anybody. I was sick of love. I because I wanted it so bad. I was sick of love. And there, I guess I can say, was possibly some hate coming out of me for people. But then I had to realize that is not what I'm supposed to do. I get the trauma is real. What you've been through is real. But the the hard part, but also the part that polishes you and builds you, is learning how to love past the trauma, past everything that you've been through. That's the thing. That's the thing that builds you. And this is a lifelong work. Like Jasmine said, this is your life. You will not hit a point where you say, okay, I'm done learning about love. I'm done learning about how to love myself, how to love other people, and loving God. You will never get to that point. Okay. So you have to continue to love, and also purchase your tickets for Building Your Love Empire, because you're going to learn.
We're gonna learn.
You're going to learn today. Okay. Okay. So let me see. I really feel like maybe I don't need the questions, because we're having such great dialogue as it
Yeah,
is. What do y'all think?
I think we can dialogue. We know
Okay.
how to flow.
Right. Okay. So I mean, today I'll give an example. Today I was talking about, just where I was having a toxic mindset, being willing to accept anything and any type of treatment from men that I so called love. And it took me a long time to learn that was not what God wanted for me. He didn't want me to just accept anything. Like, are you serious? You want somebody to disrespect you and not treat you the way your daddy treats you? Like, come on. So it took me a long time and a long time where I had to step back and look at this and really examine what I was doing, the patterns that I was in order to realize, you know what, there's something to this thing where I am continuing to be in these same patterns, same type of relationships, because something was missing within me. My self-worth was missing. I didn't know who I was. My identity was not there. I knew who my mother said I was and how she quoted the Bible, but I did not know who I was for myself. I only knew who I was because of what other people said. And that was it. Just based off of what other people said. That was those were the labels that I accepted on my life. And I don't want that for y'all. Okay? I don't want that. You guys want to say something?
Yeah, I think even on the that particular point, I can definitely relate to that. But because we're talking about just that whole love empire, the way we carry ourselves in all relationships ends up being a reflection. And so, as we're just considering what you were saying, reminded me of the statement that says we teach people how to treat us. And so, when we don't know how to love ourselves well, then we can't expect others to know how to love us well because they're only doing what they see us do. If we let go of us to take care of them, then they know, hey, well, let me come to you about that because you're going to do it anyway. And so
Right.
just learning to get into that place of identifying, like you said, where that started, what that cause was, and then being able to move forward into learning the right way. And Jasmine put it so perfectly at the beginning. We've learned some wrong things in love, whether it be through parent-child relationships, spousal type relationship, friendships. We've learned the wrong way to love. And so this building your love empire is giving you like literally the blueprint for building and then all the materials in between to be able to build your love empire to a place where you are steady and firm and strong all around. Like your love for God is solidified. Your love for self is a little solidified so that you can better love whoever it is that's around you, whether it be your spouse, whether it be your children, your friends. You will have that foundational platform to be able to build this love empire. And as Ashley said, it doesn't just stop right there. Like as your love grows, you're going to get more people in your circle. You're going to have more people to be in relationship with. And that as you're learning and growing your identity, you grow, you change. Your love also will grow. And you will learn more about yourself to better love others. So, this is something, as Jasmine said, that you are going to need. You're going to need to come back to. You're going to need this in all areas and aspects of your life where you're dealing with other people in any type of relationship.
Absolutely. Jasmine, you want to add anything?
Yeah, and that's good what Jessica was saying. Let me say this: it's when we're bringing up these conversations and these topics start to come up, it's creating a level of awareness that you probably didn't have before. And I think that that's the biggest takeaway that a lot of people will probably get from not just this conversation today, but even going to the experience as well, is that it's going to create a level of awareness. And I say that because like when it came to like healing the deliverance, a lot of the things that I was going through, even in my past, like it didn't happen overnight that I instantly was delivered. Like no, it took intentionality, and it came from the awareness. There was a lot of things and patterns and behaviors that I didn't know that I was doing was wrong. And so I had to get that level of awareness, and that's discernment, from Holy Spirit, to be able to say, hey, like, give you that gut check, like, hey, that's not the way that you should be loving. And I say that because a lot of times when it comes to the self love too, like, one of the questions Ashley didn't get into yet, but I just want to say this because it's so necessary. Because learning how to love my son, God is teaching me even more of how to love myself, because He's teaching me like, well, am I patient with you? You need to be more patient with him. Well, what about when you be doing that? I'll be like, dang, right? And it just be
Exactly.
like, okay. And it's like, and it brings it full circle for me. Like, just, and that's just what, that's my son. I can imagine what it's going to be like when it's like with my husband too. You know what I'm saying? But I say that because it's stuff that's, revelatory, that it happens, consistently over and over in your different roles that you play in life, even when it comes to being a sister, being a mother, being a friend, you know what I'm saying, building business, whatever it is. it comes with that love. Like, you need to be able to have love so that way you can, like as Jessica was mentioning, you can treat people right, and God will give you those checks. I mean, that's just about being a Christian, period. You got to learn how to love. You got to love the way that God loves, the best way that you can. No, we're not going to get it perfect, and that's why I said it comes with that awareness, because when we get those gut checks, when we do things, that may not add up or equal up to the way that God will want them to be done, thank God we got grace. Thank God we got mercy that we can be able to learn and try it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I pray that people don't get hurt in the meantime and in the process of us learning how to love, but we got to learn. You know what I'm saying? And I thank
Yeah.
God that we can learn, because there's been a lot of times where I didn't even care. Like, as Ashley was talking about before, I didn't care about loving nobody, like, because nobody loved me. I'm just telling you, like, just listen, this is the real. Like, I gotta tell you the real thing. Like, I didn't care about loving nobody. Like, you hurt me, I'm gonna hurt you worse. That's how I live my life. But God had to change my heart. He had to break it up so that way I didn't live my life like that anymore. In the moment that I get to those points where I'm like hurting people, like, dang, like, I don't want to be that hurt person that hurts people anymore. I want to love people to life. How do I love people to life? I don't know. Teach me how to love, Lord. Okay. Here comes the patience test. Here comes the kindness test. And I'll be like falling on my face, like, dang, I could have been nicer to that person. Help me, Jesus.
Right.
So I'm just saying, but it's the real thing. It's the thing that we live on a day-to-day basis, and we're continuously growing, learning, evolving. But we got to have that awareness to be able to be intentional, to desire. Ask God for that desire of your heart. Like, Lord, help me to want to be intentional about loving people, because the way that I be feeling when I be, driving and people be cutting me off, it make you feel another way. But help me to love, Lord, and help me to get it together. That's all I say.
All right, so let's pause for a second and let y'all see this. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
All right. This is the flyer, y'all. You need to listen. This is the flyer. Okay. Building Your Love Empire. It has all three of us on it. It has your information. The only thing I don't have on here is the sponsorship information. But if you reach out to any of us, we will get that information to you. All right.
And it's also, when you click on the link or go to the link, all the sponsorship levels are also there, so you can be able to, opt in if you choose to choose a level.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I love this. I love this flyer. It's super cute. All right. So, I mean, this is so good. This is so good. Oh, thanks, Hubs. So, what else do you guys want to tell everyone about this? Let me see. Why is God's love so important for building a love empire?
I really think. Oh, thank you. I really think that Jasmine hit on it earlier when she mentioned about the whole aspect of identity. But I think the biggest reason is because God is love, and so
Mm,
anytime you want to find out the best way for something to work, the best way for something to be used, you go to the source. Well, if he is love, nobody and nothing can better teach us about how it is, what it's supposed to look like, and all that it encompasses, except the one that is it, the one that created it, the one that came up with the entirety of it and displayed it the best. And so God being that number one, like we wouldn't go to the iPhone store with our Android and expect them to know how to tell us what to do with it. That's not what they created. That's not what they do. So it makes sense to go to the source to be able to find out, hey, what did you mean for this to do when you created it? And God is the one that created it. He is it. And so when we have him, we can't miss it. He will show us it, but then he'll direct us in it. He'll lead
yeah,
us in love to other people, but we got to go to him to be able to know how to do that.
absolutely. Um, there's a question on here. I'm gonna just bypass. um,
I'm a puppy.
so when was the first time you guys recognized God's love? I'll jump in and answer first. The first time I recognized God's love was when I okay. how can I say this? So I got two things for this, two answers. So the first time I realized God's love was when we were able to get out of an abusive situation, and there was trauma, but we were still alive. I realized God's love then. And then the second time I realized God's love was the fullness of his love was I guess about a month ago. And I was praying, and it was during my fast, and all of a sudden I was listening to Gyra by Maverick City, and I was just listening to it, worshiping, and then all of a sudden it just hit me. And I was like, oh my gosh, you do love me. Now, this is crazy to say that, right? But that's just how it was. Like, I always knew, I was always aware of his love. But to really feel his love wrapped around me in that moment, it was unspeakable. Like, it was the most incredible thing that I ever experienced. So one of you guys can jump in.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Jack. What's up?
I say this. It's such a hard question because there's just been so many times. So I have actually a book of answered prayers. So I was like, I gotta go back and remember it because God is just He keeps on showing me His love, and even in
Yeah.
the small things, the small and the big things, and like going through this, I'm sitting here like, oh, I could talk about that, or I could talk about that. I mean, like for real, it's a lot of stuff, and I say this because it's been a lot of things. I say this because, and I won't answer the question directly, but I'm going to answer it very indirectly, and I hope that somebody gets blessed by this. I am an overthinker. So a lot of times I have dealt with and I've suffered from depression, from anxiety, all of these different things. So God literally, that's what the word says. He will calm your anxious thoughts, right? And so like I'll have these thoughts in my mind and be like, oh, I'm so worried about this. And I won't necessarily say I'm so worried about it. It just will be something that will go over and play over and over and
Right.
over in my mind. And I say this because one of the things I say right here in my book, and I just say this, I don't want to talk about that. Are we? Is it okay that I go deep today? Because I can go deep.
Go ahead. We got
Okay.
none but time.
So one of the things, and I say this because I opened this up, and this has been one of the very. This is probably one of the first things that's listed in this book. But of course, God has been there plenty of times in my life. So I say this because about my pregnancy, and I think that this is very prevalent to the conversation about love and about self love. One of the things, and this is the reason, oh my God, it's so much. This is the reason why, like, it when it came to me in relationships and why I settled is because I was diagnosed not few, maybe like over 10 years ago with herpes. So when it comes to me with men, I just settled for anybody because if you accepted me, you liked me because I have this, I thought that it was okay. You know what I'm saying? Like it made sense to me. Like you didn't have a problem with me having these issues. And so I say that because one of the biggest things of me being pregnant that was going on over and over in my mind was having a vaginal birth and vaginal delivery of my son. That was something that I desperately, like as a woman, I just wanted. But I didn't know how it was going to happen because that plagued my mind. The enemy would try to trick me and like make me think about that over and over and over again. Like one, the fact that I got pregnant out of wedlock, but then two, it's gonna make you cry. And then two, because of the fact that I had herpes, that it was gonna be something that stopped me from having a healthy vaginal birth of my son. But I say that because like it happened so swiftly that God really, one, he took care of me even in the midst of like not having the baby's father around and stuff like that. God continuously reminded me that my son is a blessing, that that God has a great plan for both of our lives, and that I say this a lot. It took for me to get pregnant to stop having sex, and y'all know my story from a little bit from the last conversation I had on here. Dang, I ain't got no tissues, but but I say that because it took a lot for me to get to the point where I'm just like, okay, like I had to accept that my son was a blessing and it wasn't a curse. It wasn't something that was, yes, I made a mistake and I, had sex and I got pregnant prematurely, but my son is a blessing and I had to receive that. Then on top of that, God blessed me and allowed me to have a vaginal birth and be able to deliver him naturally. And I didn't, of course, I had like a what's it called, epidural, but I delivered him as naturally as possible. And that was something that really plagued my heart because I just was so concerned with all of that. It was a lot of shame and guilt that was tied to that, and that was tied to my identity as well, and me not loving myself because I felt that shame, that guilt, that I felt dirty. I felt rejected. I felt unloved. I felt like I didn't deserve love the true way. And God continuously to remind me and surround me and saturate me with his love, not only for myself, but for my son as well. Even with the absence of his natural father, God has continuously showed himself not just my father, but his father too. And so I say that because it's been a whole surrounding thing. Sorry, y'all, the baby fell. A whole surrounding thing. And I wanted to make sure that I said that because it's been something that has been beautiful to watch and to, to live by, and to see that God is continuously loving me still.
Absolutely. That is another time when you find out you're pregnant, okay, that is another time you feel God's love. Like, oh my gosh, I never knew a love like that until I saw Marquise's face for the first time. Um, but it was incredible. It was incredible. Go ahead, Jess.
Thank you for sharing that, Jasmine. I love when you are just when you speak, period, both of y'all, because y'all just bring the real. Okay. Um, with this question that was asked, and I can put so many answers down. And actually, I totally feel both of y'all. So many accounts because there's so many levels of God's love. He loves us in different places and at different times, and so we learn His love for the season that we're in. Particularly, my very first encounter with God's love, I was about actually it was before the one that I'm thinking. When my parents got divorced, I was a daddy's girl, so I was super close to my dad, and it came out of nowhere. I shared on my story, so if you missed it, you don't have to go back and watch the love
Go back
experience,
and watch it.
and catch those episodes on YouTube. I'm just saying. Um, but that was hard for me. And so I felt like I lost something. I lost part of me because I didn't have him. And I literally shut down. I think I was in like second or third grade, like to the point that I had health issues and all kind of stuff was going on. But in the midst of all of that, was one of the first time I encountered God's love because he showed me by still making sure I was taken care of. I was still protected. I was still covered through that entire process. The first time that I actually had an encounter with God's presence was like third grade. And I was in shock because I was up late. Me and my sisters were up late, and it just happened to be one of those moments. And I was just in awe, like, oh my gosh, what is this? Just crying, like, I don't know what this is, but it was just a feeling that was so warm and so just safe. And so just
Mhm.
having that moment with God then, so I'm gonna give y'all three because I can't keep it. So that was the very first time. The second time that I really like that stands out, which was one of the original I was going to share. I was in about seventh grade. And so around that time, there was a whole lot of new stuff going on. So we had moved to a new place. My mom had a new husband. We were in a new school system. It was just a whole lot of new stuff going on all at once. And in the midst of all of that, I'm a middle child. So my older sister had different health ailments. And so she required a lot of my mom's attention. And my younger sister, because she is the baby, my stepdad he really took a lot of care of her. So to her, that's dad. And so I just felt lost in the middle. And there was so much middle school, you start in middle school, puberty, all this just
All that.
craziness. And I just felt like nobody's paying attention. Nobody realizes I'm going through. And so um one night I was just done. Everything was going wrong. I was like just dealing with a lot of a lot of stuff at school, and I didn't feel like I had anybody to talk to. And so at that time, I took about maybe 5 or 6 pain pills, like the maximum, and I just took them all. And I was like, I'm just ready to go. I don't want to be here. Nobody notices I'm here. I'm done. And so I took him and I just laid on the couch. Everybody else was asleep. Nobody else even knew. And I just laid there and I was just crying. And I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And I'm trying to keep together. And so in that moment, huge glow. And God's presence came in and he was like, I want you here. I need you. I see you. I'm paying attention to you. And so that was one of the most profound moments, because when I felt like my life had no value, he showed me that it did. No effects. I could have been like straight gone, had liver damage, so many things that could have been wrong with me from taking all those pain pills and just like, take me out. I'm done. But nothing. I was completely taken care of. And so just from that experience and moving on into older times in life, high school time in life, worship was one of the biggest and still is one of the hugest ways that I get to encounter God's love and really find out how much He loves me. When getting into that place of worship, everything else is shut out and it's just me and Him. And I could hear Him clearly, and He speaks like to my direct situation if I never uttered it out of my mouth. The moments in worship, he identifies with my inner cry, my inner self. And so that love is like, the depths of me, even when I don't express it, even if I don't say it, you know it, and you handle me with care. You don't say, well, that's your fault, but you really like, come here, I love you. It's going to be okay. We'll work this out.
Yes.
It just, that love for him, and even him loving us in spite of us, that part, like, he's not condemning. He'll correct us, but he
Right.
doesn't condemn us in the place of where we fall short, where we make a mistake. He still loves us, and it doesn't waver. It's not like I kind of love you. It's like I love you the same way I loved you the first time I said it, and I meant it. And so those encounters are knowing those moments that God has shown his love.
Yo, okay. We not gonna do this tonight, okay? We not doing it. Y'all ain't gonna make me cry today. But
Look,
both of your stories, I mean, that was so emotional and so identifiable. Like, I mean, it, incredible. It is incredible. Um, Guys in the audience, if you have any questions for us, now is your time to put them in the chat and ask your questions so that we can answer them. Or any comments. But you know, just sitting back and thinking, like I had a experience like that where I was ready to go. And just the fact that God sent somebody in my path to save me for this moment right here is is incomprehensible, cuz I was like completely shut down. Wasn't talking, wasn't eating, any of that. Started complaining about my stomach, had a lot of stomach pain, um, so many things. And to be able to see God in the least likely place, in the doctor's office, for him to send somebody, the doctor, in to save me, something I never heard of. It was, I mean, to this day, I told you guys this before. I still look for that doctor because I want to thank him. Thank him for being a believer. Thank him for leading and working with me through the Holy Spirit. With the Holy Spirit, like, I can't tell you if any of the doctors that I got right now would move like that. And this was back in freshman year of high school. So it is really incredible. It's really incredible. So it's nothing like our Father's love.
no,
And that's why we want you guys to experience his love with us. experience our stories live, not in person, but live
We'll be in person next round.
next time. But I'm speechless. Y'all got something to say?
That's how his love leaves us, though.
Right.
It leaves us speechless. Like, what can we say? Even when we try to describe it, we can't even get close because it's so wide, it's so great, it's so deep that there's nothing we can say that really articulates how great his love for us is. So
Um,
it's just amazing.
Absolutely. So I want to address something real quick. Um, I see in the comments my mother saying marriage is an illusion of his love with man. And I don't think illusion is the right word for that. I think example would be a
Yeah,
better word. Because illusion is
it's
fake.
not real.
It's not it's not, it doesn't stand, it doesn't last. It's just something that you thought up. And his love is the way, I'm trying not to take it here, the way he designed his love to be shown to us in marriage is real. It's an example of
Yeah,
his love. It's an example because all throughout the Bible, um, you you have to you see the comparison
yeah,
of God's love and marriage and the church. You can't really, it all goes together. It all goes together because the church is his bride. He is the groom, but I'm trying, the bridegroom, that's what they call
yeah,
him. He is the bridegroom. And he is waiting in great anticipation for his bride. And that feeling when you are getting ready to walk down the aisle, Jess, you can relate to this. That feeling when you are getting ready to walk down the aisle, that anticipation of the covenant that you're about to enter into is so very real.
my gosh, is it?
If you are marrying the right person,
Right.
it is so very real. I can say for my wedding day, I was like, everything, it was a lot of stuff that happened that day. I'll just say it like that. I don't want to say everything that could go wrong went wrong, but it was a lot of stuff. It was storming. The venue, the electricity was going out in the venue. Um, so many things. The place that I was supposed to get ready was not available to me, so I had to get ready in the women's bathroom, and they had to try to put up dividers so nobody could see me, but it didn't work. Like it was it was crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. And the end, getting ready to go to walk down the aisle. At first I was anxious. I was like, okay, come on, come on, come on. Then when I got ready to walk down the aisle, that moment right before I stepped into the room, I was like, oh, okay, this is happening. It was like, okay, this is a big deal. This is what I'm about to do. Okay, oh, do I look okay? I got all of a sudden got nervous, but it was anticipation
Yeah.
of going down the aisle and saying I do, seeing my husband waiting for me and him trying to hold back his tears, seeing me come down the aisle, like all of that. You it I Okay, so what I'm trying to say is I feel like that is a small piece of what God feels for us. I really, that really just came to me. I feel like that is a small piece. Like he knew that the covenant of marriage, getting ready to get into that covenant and meet, or not meet, but marry the person that he picked for you, he wanted us to feel that
Yeah.
and to enjoy that, to understand what he feels when it comes to his people. I don't know.
Ashley. So y'all, Ashley got me one day. She gonna show me this video. Oh, let me just show you this video of my wedding. I was like, Ashley, this is so beautiful. I started crying. Okay, so I don't know if she showed it on here or not, but let me
I
tell y'all,
didn't.
everything that she said, like you cannot put it into words like what it was, and this is the difference. Like, there's been like I've seen weddings, like y'all seen weddings, you know what I'm saying? But when something is by God, like it's something different that transforms, and like even for the videographer to capture that moment of her walking down the aisle, it did something for me on my inside. I don't know if like I was feeling the feels or what, but I tell you, I watched the video and I was like, oh my god, I was a mess. I wasn't expecting that, but when she's saying that, talking about that's like just a snippet of God's love for us, like, oh my goodness. I just have to say that because I'm a witness and I wasn't even there. Okay. So can you imagine? I would have been on the floor. I was there. Y'all
Right.
not taking no pictures of me. I'm just saying.
Ah, I love it. I love it. It is definitely I see your mom said marriage is a representation of God's covenant with us. And it is in that same scenario of the going to say yes, that giving your yes and
Yeah.
committing to the covenant in the relationship and all that entails that you're now like as we have that submitting your will, the wife submits their will, the bride submits to that bridegroom, but that bridegroom also gives of himself, and that's what God did for us. He gave us his son to prove his love. He did that. And so that covering, that protection, and all that that husband represents and all that he does is exactly the exemplification, if that's a word, of what God does, of what
Come on,
God does,
teacher.
um, of what He does for us. Like He loves us. He gave of Himself. Everything that the husband represents, we get to find that in God. And so, in this whole building your love empire, all of these intricate details and pieces, we're gonna bring it all together for y'all, so y'all can
Mhm.
have everything you need to be fully equipped. So when you start building, you're not missing nothing. Like it says, the wise builder counts the cost. Like you make sure you don't say, "Oh, I'm gonna build this 3,000 square foot house," and you only got 2,000 square feet of wood. Like something ain't gonna work. And so when
Right.
we're giving you this opportunity to join in with the Building Your Love Empire experience, it's taking all of these details that we're sharing with you about loving God and encountering his love, having self love, and then being able to love others through different relationships. All of these parts that we're bringing together for you is going to prepare you. So when you start building, you're not lacking or missing anything. And the Bible says when we have patience, patience has its perfect work. Well, we need you to patiently come on and join the Building Your Love Empire and come learn what you need to learn, because it is so important for us to have that firm foundation in these solidified covenant relationships, because that's what God moves in. He moves in relationship. There's not any instance in the Bible where you see a bunch of solo people, rogue people walking out by themselves. The disciples were sent out by twos. The animals even came on the ark
Yeah.
in twos. Huh? Okay,
Yeah.
so there's the opportunity. God builds in our lives and he works and moves through our lives through the context of relationship. And so when we know how to properly handle relationships, we not only get to display his love, we constantly get to encounter it.
Yes.
So I'm just saying that's a plug. Go ahead and register. I'm just saying.
That's what you need to do. You want to hear more conversation? Well, it'll be really us individually talking, but oh, wait a minute. That VIP status, you want the VIP status because then you get to sit down and have conversation with us. Okay. So you might want to upgrade to VIP so that you can talk to us, pick our
All the
brains,
business.
however you want to do it, because we're going to drop some gems for you, just like we're dropping them now. Okay. And let me just say real quick, address what my mom put in the chat. Yes, prior to the wedding, um, maybe a couple days before the wedding, I was not walking. when February hit of 2016, we got married in May. February of 2016, I got sick and it left me with very extremely limited capability to walk and even really straighten my legs out. Like that was all of that was not there. I was weak. Like it was a whole thing. And literally the week of the wedding, I started to get strength back in my legs. We made preparations with all of this in mind. There were chairs at the front of the venue for us to sit in so I don't have to stand up. There like I arranged for, in case I wasn't able to walk, to have two people walk me down the aisle, or I would have to use walker because I had a walker. And when I tell you God came in and moved to make sure I walked down the aisle because he knew that was my desire and only had my dad walk me down the aisle. When I tell you that thing happened, like then the wedding day, and we waited a week or a few days before our honeymoon, I was good the entire honeymoon. I came back home and went right back to having a hard time walking. But you can't tell me that wasn't God moving during that time. The one of the happiest moments of my life. Come on.
Yes.
Come on. So she told me I don't tell that story enough. So that was the
I
story.
let But that's just like the enemy, right? He want to cripple us on our way to the love. He
Come
wants
on.
to keep us from getting there, but can't nobody
Okay.
stop it. And then when we get there, our weakness can be shown because we already covered.
Come on.
That'll preach right there. I'm gonna leave that alone.
That sure was, and I was gonna let you do it. Um but that was a whole word. That really was a whole word. Oh, that's my mother-in-law. It was a beautiful ceremony. And the lights went out during the ceremony. Just saying.
And he try to keep us in the dark so we can't see what we're doing. But look, you know how us prophetic people get everything will be a message up in here. But really, that's what the enemy does. And a lot of times we've been blinded by the wrong love. We've been in the dark on what the right love should be. And
Hmm.
so a lot of times we are either hesitant or we get a delay on the way to that real love. And that real best love ever is the love we get through God and through that salvation through Jesus, that like he died for us. There ain't too many people gonna be like, "Oh, you did wrong. Let me go ahead and take all of the payment for everything you did wrong." Like, I got it. I got you. They might pay
Not
the bill
gonna
for your
happen.
food. They might like take the rap for you if you took one thing. But as far as like paying for everything you did wrong right now that you ever gonna do wrong, like we don't even know what we're
Mhm.
gonna mess up on in the next day. He did that with the love. And when we get that love, oh my goodness, we won't accept
Yes,
nothing less.
yes, 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 and yes. Yo, this was such a good conversation. This was such a
Yeah, I don't know if other people can see these comments. We're not just being crazy. We laughing at comments that we're reading.
So my wonderful husband, y'all know he always coming with the jokes. So he said all the weed smokers saved the day with their lighters. Okay, when the lights went out at the ceremony.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and recently we found out. So okay, mom. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a
She
show
said,
about
tell the
the
whole story.
lies. So um during that time there was they had no idea what was wrong with me. I went all of that time without a diagnosis. And then when we found something that was kind of similar to what was going on with me, the doctor was like, "Oh yeah, that works. We can go with that." And it wasn't until recently, like last year, we found out that the real diagnosis of what it is, and I've been great. But let's say hi to the cutie pie right
Hey,
there, Mr.
Gabriel.
Gabriel. Hi,
Hey.
Gabriel.
I was trying to sneak my way a minute ago. Like, he is
So
so big.
thank you guys so much for listening to us. Please, please, uh, please go ahead and I can't get it together. Please go ahead and purchase your tickets today, right now. Soon as we end this episode, go get your tickets. You do not want to miss it. We are we are all dynamite together. Thank you, Kathy. That's my cousin. We're all dynamite together and we vibe really well. But check it out. Each of us has a powerful story and a powerful way to teach you guys and convey the message to you guys about
Yes.
how to build your love empire in our own topics. So, you need to go ahead and get your tickets. Share it with your church, the women in your church, share it with the females in your family. Y'all tell every woman you know to
Come
come get your tickets for the Building Your Love Empire. You see the dates, June 24th through 25th. That is the date for the Building Your Love Empire experience. You need to go ahead, run over to the link and get your tickets. Okay? Get your tickets. And I'll put it in the chat. So all you got to do is click on it.
Yep, there you
Okay?
go.
So I thank you guys. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for coming on and having this having this conversation with me. Like my mother, like somebody talk to her. Okay. So thank you for having this conversation with me. I really appreciate you guys and I love you guys so much. And I can't wait for this
I'm
experience to
excited.
go all the way down. Okay. It's going down. All right. So, guys, I'll be back next week with another amazing episode of the Love Experience Show. And there is only one thing left for you to answer. What is your love experience? Bye.